Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the Coventry School Committee meeting to order. It's 6:02. And could I have a roll call vote, please?
Sure.
I mean, roll call.
Catherine Patno,
Here.
Dave Florio,
Here.
Luke Murray, not here. Donna Colunian
Here.
and James Pearson.
Here.
I'm here. Don Coward.
Great. Could I have a motion to go into executive session, please?
Motion to go into executive session at 6:02 PM.
I second. And could we have a roll call vote, please?
Miss Catherine Patno,
Yes?
Mr. Dave Florio.
Yes.
Miss Donna Colunian,
Yes.
Mr. James Pearson.
Yes.
Right. Just so the public knows, we will be back in 10 minutes or less, but the public meeting starts again at 6:10. So you've got till then before we can start again. I'd like to reconvene the open session of the Coventry School Committee. I have 6:12. And if we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And if you could remain standing for a moment of silence as we consider the work before us this evening. Thank you. You may be seated. And Mr. Levis, if you could notify the public of the safety exits, please.
Sure. In case of emergency, there are exits to your rear and the right or left. Go out the doors and you can exit to your left into the parking area.
Thank you. And Member Colunian, if you could honor us by reading the mission statement for Coventry Public Schools, please.
The mission of Coventry Public Schools is to inspire, support, and challenge all students in an inclusive community to be critical thinkers, effective communicators, reflective learners, responsible individuals, and global citizens.
Thank you very much. And just for the public's knowledge, the school committee met for about 10 minutes in executive session previous to this meeting. There was one vote taken to approve our executive session meetings, and that vote was unanimous 4-0. Moving on to seal the minutes of the executive session. Is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I make a motion that the records of the executive session be kept closed pursuant to sections 42-46-4 and 42-46-5.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries 4-0. Moving on to approval of our open meeting minutes from 11/4/21. Is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the minutes of 11/4/2021 as presented / amended.
I second the motion.
Any questions or concerns about those minutes? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries 4-0. Moving on to the public agenda. The following agenda items are open to the public for discussion and comment. If a motion is made and before the vote is actually called, I will ask the public if they have any questions or concerns or comments, and then I'll call for the vote. We'll vote at that point. So the next agenda item is the celebration of the 2021 Rhode Island State Champion Coventry High School cheerleaders. Woohoo.
Ask the head coach, Louis Robert, if you don't mind coming up.
Sure.
We'll try to do this because I know we have 4 captains, correct?
I do.
We have 3 of them here. So first, I want to congratulate you. Thank you very much. And which one is not here?
Leanne is not.
Okay. All right, so I'll give you that. You're gonna hold it. All right. All right. So Elizabeth Anderson. Sit up there. Make sure the school committee do that.
Yeah, we're gonna.
There you go.
Yeah.
What do they say? There's a rose between two thorns. I
Yeah.
get myself in trouble. That's coming out of it. Please come. Okay. And it's Morgan.
Yep.
Morgan, I'm gonna find you. There we go. Morgan Campbell. These guys not only won this year, not only did they win last year,
Mhm.
but then you won the year before. This is the 3rd year in a row. Right?
Wow.
So I don't know if, I know the committee will want to say a few things. I don't know if you guys can kind of.
Yeah, come on over here.
And then sure that we'll open up to the public, but we want to congratulate you. We're very proud of you. It's just an amazing accomplishment, especially during these times, right? You know, we realize we're still dealing with COVID and just the challenges of life and just the accomplishment under any conditions, but due to this, just amazing. So just again, congratulations and thanks for coming.
Thank you for having us. Thank you all for having us.
I'm sure the individual school committee members will want to say something. So I'll start with Mr. Pearson.
Well, congratulations. Obviously, that's terrific. 3 years in a row. That's something to be said. I guess I actually have a question, which is rare during these, but can you, for my knowledge and the public's knowledge listening, can you tell us about the competition? Like what's involved and
Yeah,
what you have to go through?
We actually are a team that starts in June and we continue all the way to March. And there's two separate state competitions. One, we like to compete, but we also have to be there for our school community and supporting all the athletics. And even we started unified cheer team 3 years ago when we started competition cheer. So with that said, and if you were at graduation, we created the flash mob dance that the entire class did. And these girls were up there leading it and to lead upperclassmen, leading the senior class in this. And they're like, are you sure we can do this? And of course you can. We couldn't have done it without them. But they are true leaders of the school. The competition season, there's two sections. So in the fall, what we just competed was the game day competition. And so what that entails, it's at Cranston Stadium outside, and you compete against the other squads on how well you lead the crowd. So we cheer at the football games and we practice leading the crowd. So when the crowd's loud, then the crowd gets the team loud and pumped up. And so in that competition, they judge on 4 things. They do a band dance with signs, so the crowd says things back to you, and then we do stunts, and then we do a fight song, which we don't have a fight song, so we use Notre Dame. I love Rudy. But so they compete and they're judged on their performance as well as like they include tumbling and stunting, and then they have to be precise. So they put in tons of hours cheering for our teams and doing sideline work, but then also creating this game day situation, this competition that's only done in October. And then we're now preparing for the winter competition season, and that's when we're the team. So people come to be the crowd for us, and they do a really difficult routine that has all of those components, but it's at a much higher level. So we're getting ready for that. A lot of times we use our halftime to start our competition. So that is our competition routine. We learn in the summer, compete, show it off for halftime, and we tweak it through the winter, compete again in March. So hopefully you'll again with another state championship for that one. Hoping. But sorry, that was long-winded.
Oh, no,
No,
that's great.
no,
No, that's
terrific.
wonderful.
It was.
No,
Yeah.
again, congratulations again. Hope to see you back in March. That'd
Thank
be
you.
great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Congratulations. It's 3 years in a row. I
Yes.
mean, that's awesome. And a lot of people think, oh, cheerleading's easy. I know the amount of work that goes into it. It's a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, and I'm really proud of all of you.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thanks.
Awesome job. As always, you guys are great. I mean, I've seen you, I go to the games. I see you and you pump them up. You get everybody pumped up. And the school that I substitute at, I try to do you guys, and I get them pumped up. They're not in the same division, and they're not as tough as you guys. It's awesome. Whatever school should aspire to become.
Aw, thank you.
All I can say is that we're extremely proud of you, first of all. I mean, what an accomplishment. Second of all, when I go to football games, and I've been to a couple this year, when you guys start doing the stunts, I can't look. I go like this. I go, "Is someone gonna fall? I hope not." I mean, you always are perfect, and it's precision and action. And I'm so always reminded by the athleticism that it is between the dance moves, the gymnastic moves, just everything. Your costumes, just your pom-poms, it's just, I was never a cheerleader. Back in my day, I would never have made it. I was never a gymnast or anything like that. So I'm always in awe of the team when you guys go out. I went to homecoming. It was just incredible. And so I just am so, you're quite a bunch, and so I love that you love it. And it certainly shows that you're a team and that you're cohesive together, and you have a wonderful coach, obviously, and great parents that have supported you through the years, because you don't learn that when you're a junior or freshman in high school. That's something you probably, have you all cheered like before you got to high school? No, you're all, wow. Oh, since 6, yeah. Which is, that helps. But yeah, I'm always absolutely amazed. And I have to say that I've been at some games where the opposition cheerleaders are, I try not to be, I mean, I'll clap for them anyway, but certainly not like I do for you guys. So, because I've always been so impressed by the teams. So, yeah, we're really proud of you.
I'm glad that you brought up cohesive.
Yeah.
Because when you talk about dispensing,
Yeah.
it's evident that you have to trust one another.
Oh, yeah.
And they're very cohesive. And that's what a lot of times we do tryouts in June,
Mhm.
because I have all summer to work
Mhm.
on that team bonding with
Yep.
them.
Yeah.
And it's such an integral part of that team,
Mhm.
to trust your life in the hands of
Yeah,
somebody else.
exactly. It's like I said, I literally sometimes have to look away or look through my, because I want to see it, but and I watch the things that are posted on the Coventry High School website. So I saw a recent post from someone with the signs, and it might have even been the
That was
competition.
the game.
I think it was the game day. Yeah, because I recognize Cranston. Where's the indoor competition? Is that
They,
switch it around?
the real puts one on, and the Coaches Association puts one on, and then the New England's, which we qualified to the New England's last
Mhm.
time. And then
Wow.
we got cut short because COVID, you couldn't cross borders.
I
and-
know.
So hoping to get back to the New England's, give that chance to us. But usually, whichever gym is the biggest.
Ah.
So hopefully we could host it one day, because
Ooh,
we have a big gym.
good. That'd be fun. Anyway, congratulations so much. I don't know if there's anyone in the public that would like to say something.
Mr. Jones, do you have a- I've been hugging him for a state champion banner, and he's like, "You're not mine. You're not a sport." We'll work on things.
Yeah. So anyway, so congratulations. Did you want to say anything? At
I
all?
just wanted to thank everybody
is a
here for
sport.
including us in the meeting.
Yeah.
It's really,
Very
really
athletic.
important for us to like feel equal. And,
Yeah.
and you always sending this out to us in this invitation, it really meant a lot to all of us. So
Mhm.
I appreciate it.
This is the best part of our job on school committee, is when we can honor our
We'll get you
students.
a banner, okay?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, they deserve a banner because they're athletic.
I know they are. I think they're athletic, so it's an athletic
Well, that's
sport.
a conversation
I know.
we're having
down the road.
internally. No,
Yeah.
internally, so.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Anyway, so thank you so much for being here and putting up with us. And you don't have to stay, obviously. You can go home and do your homework or whatever. But we're so happy you came out and we're here for us to celebrate you all.
Thank you again.
Thanks. Let's have a standing O for these guys. Come on. There we go. All right. So the next agenda item, we're going to table. So we're going to move on to number 8, which is the revised policy, employee student relations policy, our second reading. And I think we probably can go forward with a motion right now for the second reading to dispense with.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to dispense with the second reading of the revised policy GBEBB, employee student relations policy.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes
Aye.
aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries 4-0. Moving on to the actual approval of the revised policy. Mr. Pearson, I know you're on the subcommittee. Is there anything you'd like to speak to about this?
we didn't expect to make so many changes. I think there was one minor tweak we initially set out to do on this policy to make an improvement, but upon review, we did our job and made several changes, and hopefully this is a little clearer. That's all. I'll say.
As always, we appreciate your hard work and the rest of the policy committee. Anything else from any of the school committee members? All right,
No,
are
we
we,
just appreciate them very much.
Yep. Is there a motion?
I'm Chair, I make a motion to approve the revised policy GBEBB, employee/student relations policy as presented/amended.
I second the motion.
Thank you. Is there anything from the public? Any comments about this particular policy? Questions or concerns? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries 4-0. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 9, the girls lacrosse program at Coventry High School. Mr. Jones and Grace Coscella. Sorry, I know that. I should know that. Cosella.
Mhm.
Anyway, so Mr. Levis, did you want to start it
No,
and turn
just
it
I know
over?
Mr.
or-
Jones had reached out to me. And I know that there was a lot of interest in, you guys went out and got a lot of support. And so tonight you're just making a presentation. A couple school committee meetings ago, we had conversations around athletics. Mr. Jones and Miss Anderson, who's the principal secretary at the high school, but also does a lot of the budgets around the athletics. They're looking at, they put together spreadsheets so I can look at the last couple of years and how we funded. So tonight's just a presentation to the school committee. This is something that we'll have to take up. There's a couple other things that we have to do. We're actually, with one of our next few policy subcommittee meetings, we're going to be looking at a policy around boosters and funding. So we're taking a deep dive into all of our programs to make sure they're fair and equitable. And but I think the first step is tonight, you guys presenting to the
Bless
school
you.
committee about your interest in anything you want to share with us about the girls lacrosse program.
If you could please come to the microphone, because folks that are on the streaming will not be able to hear you without the microphone. Yeah, you need to turn it on too.
Never been accused of not being able to be heard. Grace came to me about a month or two ago with this idea. It's been presented a couple times before to Joe and I in athletic department, and none of the girls at that point really carried through with it. So I gave Grace a couple tasks. One was to get signups, which she did. She came back a week or two later with about 80 girls that had signed up interested in playing. So then I tasked her with sending them each an email, and which she did, to let them know that we would come before you guys. So I spoke to Mr. Levis and asked him about that. In the meantime, I told her that I would check on availability of our facility with the Interscholastic League and cost of equipment and stuff. And I found out that the boys and girls programs are totally different. The girls basically need goggles and a stick, and that's it, where the boys have helmets, goggles, helmets, shoulder pads, gloves, and there's very little contact in the girls' sport, which I knew that. But and I told Grace basically why she's here is that I told her that you guys would want to hear from her rather than me. She's been a great advocate for herself and for the other girls. So I can answer probably most of your questions right now. What I did tell Grace was that when the boys program started, they started out as a club for 2 years and then moved into the Interscholastic League. Main reason for that was we didn't know the skill level of the guys. And I told her that would be my recommendation if this would go forward, that they too would start out as a club. And just to get those logistics down of having a coach and having the skills of the girls at that level to compete in the Interscholastic League. I'll let Grace say anything that she wants to say. But hopefully I've done what I told her I would do for her. So.
I don't really have much to say. I got the idea that I wanted to do it because when I first entered the high school, in advisory, they were giving us lists of like different clubs and sports that we can do. And I saw that lacrosse was on for like an option, and I was started asking around about it, and I found out that it was only for the boys. And with it being a contact sport more so for the boys, it wasn't really something that I would be able to compete in. So I was speaking with some of my friends, and we started to see that more people actually wanted to do it. So I went down to Chuck Jones' office, and I put up posters around the school. We had over 80 girls sign up. People are still coming up to me, asking me questions about it, about where we're at. Yeah, that's really all I have.
So I'm going to just start with Mr. Pearson. He may have some questions for you.
When is the lacrosse season?
It's a spring sport with the interscholastic
It is
league.
spring.
So that's even if whichever, if it happens, club or it would be in the spring.
When you talk about the safety gear, just goggles and a stick, is that just what's required by
Yes,
the interscholastic league? Or do we also recommend maybe they put?
that's what's
more
required by
or-
the NFHS. If the girls want to buy gloves, they can, if they want to wear gloves. I'm not sure about the shoulder pads and stuff like the boys use. Grace was in the office. I did reach out to the town of Coventry has a lacrosse program for both boys and girls. And I spoke to Leah O'Brien. She was great in helping me with some of this stuff. And she said that we could call her back and ask any other questions we have, that she would help us. She said, they're not allowed to touch each other. I was told that for girls hockey too. In the first girls hockey game I went to, there were 3 fights.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. But it is a big difference. So that's why they don't require the gloves and the shoulder pads. But the goggles and the stick is totally different than the boys. The boys has a pouch in it and the girls doesn't. And I'm thinking in my mind, that's so they can't throw the ball as hard. They can't get I guess what you would call a grip on it to release it
There's
when
no
they're spinning it. Yes, there's no
pouch.
pouch.
What is it?
I don't,
Is it just a paddle or?
it's still a net, but
Okay.
it doesn't have the deep pocket like in the
Oh, I see.
boys.
Okay.
And I think they're all the same length, the girls sticks, where the boys has different lengths. So,
Interesting.
yes.
80 signups. That's terrific. Good job getting that many students who are interested. So starting up as a club, I guess it would be important. What's the minimum you need to really have a functional team?
I'm not even sure how many are on the field at once. I would think you'd want probably 24 to commit to be able to practice, and if somebody's out for any illness or whatever, but I would think you'd want at least that many. That was our next step. After we speak to you, we're going to go back and inform the girls of the cost of what might be there, and just to make sure their intent is there. Some of them were seniors. Well, they want to put out, money for a 1-year thing, and if it's only a club, but that I'm going to task Grace with that again. So you don't have to say anything.
No, you
that's
don't,
when
no.
we get back to school.
I thought you wanted me to say
No,
something.
not yet.
Okay.
I think that's all the questions I have for now. This would be interesting if we can get it off the ground, get the interest. I think our big hurdle getting 80 students interested is huge. So great job doing that. And now you just need half of them to really follow through, and you'll be in good shape. So thank you. Thank you for the info. That's all I have for now.
Thank you, Mr. Pearson.
I want to commend you on, knowing what you wanted and going out there and fighting for it. That is amazing. And to get 80 students, it's amazing. I am really, really proud of that. And I was a little concerned too, when you said that there wasn't a lot of safety, because all I can see is me getting hit in the head with a ball because it would be me.
I said the same thing. I said, I don't know how we can justify somebody getting hit, but there again, I don't know all
But
the
yeah.
rules and ins and outs of the
And
girls.
then that's just
program,
it,
which
there's still a
Probably
little
somewhat
bit,
modified from the boys.
yeah. Because I know someone that actually got a concussion from lacrosse, so, but I hope everything works out and you get you get your approval and everything. This is great. I'm really, really proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Colonian. Mr. Florio.
Chuck, Chuck and I have been through this before with the girls' hockey team, remember?
Yes.
And that ended up being pretty good.
It did.
It-
They're a co-op, and that's,
Yeah.
in fact, I think that's what I told Grace when she initially came in, that we look to see if we didn't have enough, that we could co-op with some other schools like we
Yeah.
do with the girls hockey.
Mhm.
And when she came back with the 80 names, I called the league back and said, I don't think we're gonna need a co-op. So,
Wow. That's awesome. And Chuck, I'm fully supportive of this initiative. Absolutely. And Grace, I hope you do it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I have one quick question. Do you know how many schools, high schools have girls lacrosse? So in the interscholastic league, not just as club sports
There's
or,
about 33 in the league. There's
Okay.
3 different divisions. I did check on that.
okay,
And there again, I just told Grace what the boys did. They started as a club, and the
Yep.
first year they were in Division 3. We checked their skill levels there. They're up to Division 2 right now. I know they'd love to go to D1, but we're not ready for that at all.
Mhm, mhm,
And the coaches, I think the kids understand.
mhm.
But they've moved from 3 to 2, and that's the progression that you want. So,
Cool. I just want to commend you, Grace, as well for picking up the stick, so to speak, and doing something with it. Obviously, you love the sport. I assume you were part of the rec league.
I've never played before.
You've never played before. So what's your interest, do you think?
I just wanted to try new things. I
Ah.
actually tried tennis this year too. for high
Cool.
school, so.
Very nice. Yeah, you're an adventurer. Good for you as well. Well, I'm sure the committee will, consider it. That's internal, not us so much, but
Yeah,
at the high school or
I think
whatever.
a club too, is
Yeah.
that how we work with clubs and fund them. And
Yep.
it's got to go through the high school
Process, yeah.
process, because they'll be the ones to do the club, and then, and we'll have to talk, Mr. Jones, and this will be part of the budget process, but I think I started off by saying, we're also looking at all of the activities to make sure that they're equitable. There's one area that I need to work with the policy subcommittee on, and then to look at the funding, because we still have to make sure, even if it's outside funding, we have to make sure that there's equity. Like, so for instance, it's gonna cost probably a lot less to run a lacrosse program for the girls than it would the boys program. But then we have to look at, and these are things that I'll have to look at with Mr. Jones. What's our responsibility in terms of what equipment we need to purchase, and then looking at, the referees and all that stuff. I think so. So we have time to do that. We start the budget process like in December. So there's a lot of work that has to be done behind the scenes by me, not by you. But you've done a great job, and but I'll continue, and I'll touch base probably right when we come back from Thanksgiving. Maybe Grace, you, myself, and Mr. Jones could meet, and I need to figure out more about this too, in terms of the club aspect, and what we, how we go about that. So
I'll do some more work in the meantime. We'll have Grace reach out to the girls, and like I said, we'll get that commitment. We'll see how committed some of them are to make sure, and we'll move forward.
but just to say, Grace, like I met with a group of young people at the high school today, and we can talk all we want, but your presence and your work is much more powerful than anything I'm going to do, right? So just believe that. So, you're going to have much more influence. And if there are more people that want to come and support like you do, that even has more power. So, without you, this wouldn't even be here tonight, right? So thank you very much. And, we'll continue the conversation in a couple of weeks. Is that fair?
Sounds good.
All right.
Great.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Anything from the public?
That concerns me a little bit.
He is very good.
Well, thank you very much for coming, and appreciate your work on this. So go home and do your homework. Yeah, great job. Okay, I guess we can move on to agenda item number 10, Weston Coventry Elementary School Modular Classroom Discussion and Vote.
I'm going to take this one, Madam Chair.
Okey-doke.
Mr. Levis is passing down an email that we've been waiting for, that kind of gives us the okay from Department of Ed in terms of using the ESSER funding to pay for the modular.
Mhm.
If you look at the email from the end to back to the front, you can kind of see the progression and the back and forth between Mr. Dunham and I in terms of what he needed from us in language so that we could put the application in and it would be approved.
Mhm.
The bottom line though, is if you look at that front page, he says pretty emphatically that, we've basically met the description meets the requirement. So that's the first thing. Department of Ed said, we can use that funding. We've also shared with the committee, but I'll put it up on the screen for the community. We received a diagram
Mhm.
of what the actual modular would look like.
Mhm.
So that's the modular that we are looking to put at Western Coventry School. You can see right here is a bathroom.
Mhm.
And then you can see that it's actually two vehicles that are connected together to make one big space.
Yep.
So that's the design. It's 34 feet long, and then when you combine the two sides together, it's 22.5 feet wide. Anybody see that?
Yep.
So that's the design of the actual modular. And then the other thing I wanted to show you folks in the community, because I don't know if this was shared, is the site map of the school. If you're familiar with Western Coventry Elementary School, this space right here where my cursor is the gym. This long hallway is a set of like the newest section of classes. And then this representation right here is where the modular is going to be placed based on the people who are going to construct it and deliver it. They came down and they told us the best place to put it based on the requirements for electrical and plumbing and zoning and whatnot. There was two pictures shared with the committee. It's really the same spot, just a different orientation. So one, it goes this way, and then the other one kind of goes, it's like a horizontal versus a vertical, but it's essentially the same location. Everybody see that? And then the only other thing I wanted to share with the committee, and I think the community probably should be aware of this as well, is this was the proposal from the company. So there's $106,000. That is the actual device, the modular. And then the $31,000 is for them to deliver and install, set up and put it together for, preliminarily all in cost is $137,760. There are some things they don't do that our maintenance people can do so that we can keep that cost as close to that number as possible. There may be a few additional things that come up when you put something like that. It's a pretty large piece of equipment that we put on site. So there might be some things that we have to do in addition to that cost, but we should really be coming in right around there. So the last time I came before you, I kind of described the need. So you understand the need of it. And the only thing I was waiting on was the proposal, the site map, the diagram, and then the letter from Department of Ed giving us the green light to use the COVID ESSER funds to purchase it. So unless there's any other questions from you or the community, I think we're looking for a vote so we can move forward.
Great. Mr. Pierce, do you have any questions for Mr. Coward?
So the 137,760, if I'm reading correctly, does not include plumbing, electrical. That will be extra.
I think it has everything inside. I think some of the connections have to be done by our people.
That's the only question I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pierce. Pearson, Mrs. Colonian?
I don't have any questions at this time.
All right, thank you. Mr. Florio?
No questions, Madam Chair.
I just have one final question. Does this connect to the back of the building?
No, so
So
they'll
it's
be,
standalone.
it stands alone,
Yeah.
separate from the building.
That's what it
They
looked
will
like.
build like a stair patio,
Yeah.
like deck kind of area where
Okay.
the students and the staff can come up into the,
Right.
but it doesn't connect
Yeah.
To the
It
building.
doesn't look like it does. Yeah.
No, it's too far away.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So the kids will have to walk out to it. But
Yep.
part of the application and description that I just passed down to you, that Mr. Dunham from RIDE wanted to make sure is that how we use that space. So we're not designating one single
Yeah,
class to be out
exactly.
there.
It's
We're using it either as an itinerant space where kids will go out for music
Mhm.
and art class, or we'll be using it as an intervention space so kids can go out and get additional support and help. But nobody's going to be placed out there permanently.
Yeah. no.
And how we use it is really up to the principal. Dr. Bagley and her committee will look at how they want to use that space. I think once it gets delivered, she has some ideas on how we can use it for the rest of the year.
Mhm.
But then she may want to do a step back from that and maybe do some reconfiguration that is a little bit long lasting because they have had a lot of movement.
Mm.
And actually, that was part of my description to RIDE as well. Like, this has been a difficult situation. We've had to reconfigure and move classrooms a lot.
I know.
And I think if I could speak to Dr. Bagley, I don't think she wants to keep doing that.
Yeah.
So if we can find a permanent
Solution.
solution,
Mm.
that would be in the best interest of everyone.
Right. Okay. Sounds good. All right. Are we ready for a motion?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the Western Coventry Elementary School modular classroom.
I second the motion.
Mhm. Anything from the public before I call for the vote? Any comments? Nothing. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries 4-0.
Yay.
Congratulations. It was a long time coming, but. All right. I know I do. I wrote it. Vote to table. All right. So the next agenda item we want to table as well, but a vote was involved. So I need a vote to table. So is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to table the enterprise lease agreement for facilities vehicles as presented.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries 4-0. So we will reconsider that at a future date. And then we're going to go to agenda item number 12, which is the school building committee update. And our chair for the committee is not here tonight. So I'm going to ask Mr. Cowett to give that update, please.
Sure. And I'm going to be pretty brief because, not a lot has changed since the last update. Our group did meet last night. We're preparing for a joint meeting between the school building committee and the town council on Monday.
Mhm.
And we'll be presenting to them the project, our budget proposal, and basically the scope of work that we'd like to do as part of this initiative. And that's really it. And, we would hope and be very grateful if people from the school committee came and supported that process.
Okay. Any questions from the committee for Mr. Cowett? We're good? Okay. I would like to reiterate, it would be really great if the whole school committee did. I will be there, obviously. I'm a school building
Monday?
matter. Yeah, Monday. I believe we are on for 7:00. Was that what it was?
7:30.
7:30?
The school building committee, yeah.
I thought it was 7.
Nope, we changed it.
Oh, it did? Okay,
And,
so,
yeah.
oh, she changed it. All right, so it's 7:30 if you can at all make it. But at the very least, at least maybe zoom in and maybe have a comment if you wanted. So I thank you for that. Thank you, Mr. Cowett. Was there anything from the public for Mr. Cowett? No. Okay, moving on to the superintendent's report. Mr. Levis, you're up.
And I'll be brief. We went back to high school this week. So back to the 3 lunches and the regular time of dismissal. I don't want to, we've seen an uptick in cases across the state. We've had our uptick in our elementary schools. We've been working with RIDO. We have implemented our new process in terms of looking at smaller pods within the elementary school. So if at all possible, we're doing whatever we can do to make sure we keep students in. I just want to reiterate, though, this is a partnership. This isn't just the responsibility of the school. We've had students that have tested positive that have been sent into school, and families have known they're positive. And it doesn't help, especially with young children, and I know there's a lot of frustration. We all want this. I don't want to wear masks anymore. I worry about my, 6-month-old granddaughter, and, we all have these fears. Like, we're all in this together, but we really need the assistance of everybody. Our cases, at the high school, and we hope we'll see, and we're going to monitor, obviously, after the holidays. But, the cases this week, the numbers have been, probably one of the largest school and the lowest we've had. At least I get the number, I get the emails from Department of Health. So that's a good thing. We still don't know. I still don't know the percentage of students at the high school that are vaccinated. That hasn't been updated, or the middle school. So, it's just eternal vigilance. We're going to start our testing. We sent out consent forms to families asking, if they want to be part of a regular testing. And again, it's with consent. People can remove the consent whenever they want. And we'll continue with that. Like I said, we should get an idea tomorrow. We're going to look and see what, and that'll help us dictate the testing. And also, we're going to do the symptomatic testing so that if somebody's identified as positive, they, instead of having to do it with a state site, they could go and get tested with a designated site at the school, try to make it more convenient for families. So, and then the other part is just, I did meet with, briefly with Ms. Maycumber to talk about student representative, school committee.
Yep.
I think we want to do something different than just have like one of the class officers or one of the, National Honor Society students. We're going to look at being creative. Mr. Lucian is dealing with a family situation, so we will bring back a potential idea to the school committee at our December 9th meeting. But, I think we can talk about, at that time, we'll give options, but do we want someone here every meeting? Would it be once a month? Can we do it, early on, like right after our celebration, so that they don't have to stay, whatever the pleasure of the committee is. But we'll come back with some different options. But I think it would be nice to have different voices. We saw it tonight with Grace Cazella and the cheerleaders. It's nice to have student voice, and I think if we can incorporate that and with some kind of platform, like we want to have what is it that the committee really wants to hear? And that way we can have a structure and we can look at it from different lenses of different students, So we could even look at maybe, bringing it down to the middle school and maybe even at some point a 5th grade student coming, we can talk more about that, but I'll bring back some proposal on December 9th. So, and that's it. And just, I know it's not on here, but I just want to share that, obviously we know what transpired on Monday, and I'm going to share with the committee. I asked for Ms. Maycumber. I happen to be there on Tuesday morning. I want to thank everybody, especially my left-hand man here, Mr. Cowart, but the administration at the high school, central office administration. Most importantly, our students, our staff, just amazing in terms of this situation. All of our community agencies, partners. But Tuesday morning, and I wasn't there. The committee knows. I don't know if people know, but I was out of town, and so. There's nothing worse. I mean, obviously nothing worse than being in the midst of it, but being superintendent and getting a text at 11:45 in Texas that this is happening, you worry about. I worry about everybody and worry about my staff, and it's a lot to throw on Mr. Cowart, and they did an amazing job. But Tuesday morning, so everybody starts off in the period 7 class, whatever that was. And they stayed for a while, and Miss Maycumber gets on, and Mr. Chase put together something with Miss Maycumber, and Miss Maycumber just read from their heart. And I'm going to share that with the committee. I'll share that with you, and I asked her for a copy of it today. But it's just, it just shows that we don't always agree on things, and I say it's a community, but what I can tell you is that our community, our school community just loves their students. And while there may be situations and disagreements and, not everybody's always on the same page, you take, I've always said through crisis comes opportunity, and I look at my own personal life, and some of the biggest crises in my life have been the greatest opportunities for me to grow and where I have grown. And I think that's what happened Monday, and people just embraced that. So we're going to have a debrief with the police department tomorrow just to process more. We're going to meet in the executive session, the next meeting. And, I'd be remiss if I didn't put some kind of words on it. I'm not going to get into really discussing it tonight or getting into details, but it's my way of just saying, we have such a strong community, and And just to listen to what Miss Maycomber was saying that day was just, incredible. And I think there wasn't, for a lot of adults, it wasn't it was very emotional. And I wasn't even there, but, Miss Ferguson's here, and, like, it was just incredible. And to be part of this community, there's many times when I'm shaking my head, I'm sure there's many, but just to see how this pulled people together, it was just amazing. So I just wanted to say, thank you to everybody and their response, and to this community, and even thank you to the media for, a lot of times it's sensationalism, but how they portrayed, and I have so much gratitude, and I'd be remiss, like I said, if I didn't put some words on it. So that's my report.
Thank you, Mr. Levis. Anything from the committee? I see a shake of a head. No, nothing, Mr. Florio? Anything from the public on the superintendent's report? Seeing none. Thank you, Mr. Levis, and we can move on to citizens' comments. Are there any citizens gathered who would like to speak? Okay, please identify yourself and your address.
I will, absolutely. Lisa Piccirilli, 9 Mohawk Street, Coventry. My son's a student at the high school and was there regarding the incident on Monday. And that is what I would like to address.
Okay.
First and foremost, I would like to also thank everybody who was involved for keeping our children safe. Faculty, the principal, police, everybody. I am forever grateful. It could have been a horrible situation. I'm thankful it wasn't. And I also want to say that student and staff and faculty safety is my utmost priority and concern. I would, however, like to just run down how I received my information, which is a concern for me. At 11:45, I was told that was when the incident actually began. At 12 o'clock, I started receiving text messages from my son, who was in lockdown in his classroom. Hadn't heard anything about the situation. Scared, just said that the SWAT team was there. He didn't know, he just heard that somebody had a gun, and, he kept, texting me. So of course I go to Facebook. I'm like, has anyone heard about anything going on at the high school? I heard that someone had a gun. I heard that a Spanish teacher was being held hostage. I was told I'm being truthful. I heard from another parent that they called the school and that the secretary told them that it was a drill. Still texting my son, what's going on? Are you okay? Are you safe? I'm like, please keep in contact with me. I received my first email regarding the lockdown at 1:15. It stated obviously not to come to school, that, they were setting up a staging area at the job lot, etc. At 3 o'clock, at 3 o'clock, my son was dismissed. However, his bus left without him. My neighbor's child, who was on the bus, mother called me and said, hey, Joey was not on the bus. Do you know where he is? I said, yes, he told me that he was dismissed, that his bus had left, and that he was getting a ride home from a friend. The student that was on my son's bus said that the bus driver said that they weren't waiting for anybody, that they needed to get to the middle school to pick up other children. Fortunately, my son got a ride from a friend. What if he didn't have a ride? What if I was at work and I wasn't available to come and get him? I received my next email at 3:10 with a dismissal update. First, it was they were going to the job lot. Then it was they were going on buses if they could, home. I believe in like a later email, or it could have been that email, we were told that the last student got home around 4:30 in the afternoon. The next email I received was at 6:15, and that was just a basic post-incident update, everything that had gone on, which I'm sure you all received. I don't feel that as a parent, I should have to get my information from Facebook. I think that is completely irresponsible, and I'm very upset over it. I know we can do better. So I stand here today to I don't want to be part of the problem. I want to hopefully be part of the solution and offer an idea. I'm a nurse at Rhode Island Hospital. Also, I was at Hasbro. I've been there for 23 years. I responded to many code situations. Everybody in a code situation has a clear and defined role. And I feel that we could do something like that in the town of Coventry, whereas we set up some type of a committee where the superintendent's office is involved, administration, like from the schools, maybe a parent advocate, someone from the Coventry Police Department, and set up, I don't know what you would call it, maybe a crisis response, whatever. We get alerts all the time on our phones that there's a flood watch, there's a tornado watch. Why can't we get a text message? I am not sitting on my computer looking at my email all day long, but I always have my phone with me. I always have my Apple Watch with me. So I get a text message and it has a link, and it can also go to email, have a link to a website that is manned by someone who is not involved in the situation, maybe someone in the superintendent's office, where parents can be directed to get real-time information as to A, what is the incident? What are we doing about it? Are our children safe? How is it being handled? And then periodic updates. How are your children going to be dismissed? Where will they be? When can you pick them up? Will they have to leave their belongings there? I heard students left their cars at the high school. And I just feel like we deserve, as a community, real-time, honest information. That's all I'm asking. And then maybe once the incident is over, like we do in a code blue at the hospital, a couple days down the road, everybody gets together, the people that are on the committee, and look at the situation as a whole, objectively. What did we do good? What did we do bad? And what can we do better the next time? That's it.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your comments and suggestions. Did
Thanks, Mrs.
anyone from
I'll just-
administration
I'll
want to
just-
say
yeah,
anything?
I'll just say that, I appreciate your feedback. We are meeting tomorrow.
Mhm.
So we're meeting everybody that's been involved, the leadership, and so we're going to debrief, and you brought up some good points, so we can take that. That's the purpose of this. Right? So, and
And
I just want to
I
say.
appreciate- oh,
that-
sorry.
No, I just want to say that I don't agree with getting information from Facebook as a
Mhm.
primary source, but I do agree that, like, text message, like you said. So we'll discuss it tomorrow. We can take some of those points into our conversation. So-
I appreciate that. And I just want to add, I understand that you don't want parents rushing to the school, but when you don't get real-time honest information, that's what you want to do. You want to rush to the school. You can be very clear. Don't come to the school. Don't call the school. We're trying to keep your children safe. Brooke Maycomber shouldn't have been having to send out emails updating us on the situation. It should be somebody who has firsthand knowledge, but maybe not at the school trying to man that whole situation. I just think we can do better.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Mrs. Picciarelli.
You're welcome.
Sure.
I just want to thank you for coming up here and not just saying you got a problem, but offering a solution.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate
Thank you. I
it.
appreciate it.
Can I add
Thank you.
also, if it would be really great if you emailed or gave us in writing some of the suggestions, because you said, I might even take a picture with my phone because they were very on point. And I was there and I'm reflecting as you're talking, and there are a lot of things that you're saying that I know we can do better with. There's some things that I think we could go point counterpoint, but I don't think that's really productive. I think it's more productive to take the feedback and reflect on it. But I don't want to lose anything you said. And we are having this meeting tomorrow morning at 8. It would be really wonderful. And I
I
will,
want to take a picture if you can understand it,
if you're okay with that, I may do that.
but you can have it.
Yeah.
Tell me.
The other thing I was going to say is, if you don't mind that, yeah, thank you.
You can-
I'll figure it out.
All right.
I work for this guy.
I mean, as a parent, my son is texting me,
Mhm.
We get it.
and I don't even know what's going on, and he's scared to death. He doesn't know that it's just hopes or
Mhm.
not, there really isn't someone with a gun.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
We
Thank
get
you.
We get it. Another comment? please come forward and identify yourself and your address, please, for the record.
Liz Minda, and I have three teenagers in the Coventry school system, and one of them was at the high school. And I, along with you, I'm a nurse, 33 years, health frontline worker, fired, retired. Hallelujah. But anyway, I tried to come up with a solution because I got a teenager who's, if I get 3 words out of her, I'm lucky. And my concern was, I also saw it on Facebook. That was my first alert. So I texted her right away. Number one, 14 years old, I wouldn't have given her a phone, but that was out of my hands. Her aunt gave it to her. I don't think kids should have phones until they're 16 years old when they really need to start driving and all of that. But that's besides the point. She had a phone. I said to her, I said, what? So I told her what I thought I knew from Facebook. I said, I heard that there's a shooter. I think they got the gun, but this is all stuff I'm hearing. So she said, where did you hear that from? That's what she texted me back. So I said, it really doesn't matter because I'm not going to get the straight skinny from mainstream media because they're only going to be fed certain information. I think we need a command center, like you said, because we shouldn't expect the principal to be able to, when she's trying to run the show along with everybody else, we need somebody specifically who can get the word out to the parents so that, I mean, I'm not an alarmist and I wasn't worried because I realized that things happen, there's drills. I said, you know what, in the future, Jenna, I said to my daughter, I said, here's maybe what you should do. She said, well, Mom, we were huddled in the corner. We couldn't get to our phones. They were on our desks. But when we could, the teachers were telling us not to call, just to text. And I said, that's great, but we got to come up with a plan because I told your father, now we're starting to get a little nervous. We're hearing that there's everybody's getting picked up at job lot. I said, you and I have to have communication. So somehow, some way, even if it's just texting me to tell me that it's a regular drill, even if it's a lockdown drill, I said that way, if it blows up into something else because you didn't know, you're huddled in the corner with the teacher and nobody's feeding you any information, you're not getting any information and you all thought it was a drill. They didn't know whether it was real or not. Parents didn't know. And by the time we did find out, how much information really is released to us in the first place anyway, because the police are going to keep it, down so that the parents aren't alarmed. And I understand all of that, but we need to know that our children are safe. So I think there's got to be a way to communicate with the kids, to tell us that everything is okay. It's a drill. If it starts to go on, by that point, we've been notified by the officials at the school somehow, some way. That's all I ask. Because I think it's important that the parents know what's going on and not to see it in social media. Absolutely not. But that was my first alert. So.
I was just going to add one thing. Because if you both said it, the emails came from Mrs. Maycumber's account. She wasn't sitting there writing the emails. We have a committee of people, like you said, that are working together, and we're using that computer to send the messages. But she's not sitting there typing them, just so you know, there's.
Her name
people-
was
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah,
so
I just wanted you to know,
Assume.
I don't want the perception to be that she's sitting there sending these emails. She's,
No, and I don't
yeah.
expect her to
Yeah.
be. It shouldn't be
No,
her. She's
Yeah.
in the middle
Yeah.
of a crisis
Yeah.
at that
So I
point.
think
So
the best-
she's a valuable point
So
in this.
we are meeting tomorrow at 8:00 and I think you have valid points and just, when these incidents happen, there's supposed to be a command center, right? And I think that's something that we'll process and debrief and, because we've been through the training, we've talked about incident command and probably the same training you've been through. So all I can
But
say
when
is
it's
that.
real, it's a totally
Yes,
different
well,
thing.
right,
I
and
mean,
it
the
was
drills are
real.
one
It
thing.
it
We
wasn't
run
a
through
drill.
drills in
It-
cold blue,
All the time.
all the time.
Right.
But when
So-
it's real,
Right.
everybody
So-
has to be spot on and everybody has to have a job. And there should be somebody who's delegated to notify the parents that we're in lockdown because of.
Yeah.
No, I get it.
I got so many mixed stories. There were two people passing by in a
What I'll
corner
say,
of
though, is that unless
the
it's-
hallway. One they got the gun, but they didn't get the assailant.
Yeah.
It gets a little,
All I can say is that
unnerving.
we're gonna process tomorrow. We blocked off a couple hours to work and go through it and, you bring up valid points and we'll take, we obviously take into consideration, but safety is first. I mean, I remember I was in Texas and I got the email and I looked and as soon as I got it, I forwarded it to the school committee to keep them informed. And that's, like I said, we can do a better job, but I think, and I step back, and again, I'm not in your shoes. I
I'm
wasn't
not
in
saying
your.
you
No,
guys
no,
did a bad
but I
job.
think that
That's not it
No,
at
we get
all.
it. We
that
get it.
same day,
You know,
the
in
same day
reality,
in
we need to
Colorado,
fix it.
5 kids were shot outside of a school, right?
Right.
So I
Yeah,
think
no.
we
Right.
did, I mean, I think
That
it's,
exacerbated the
it's-
situation.
again.
In the end, it wasn't that situation, but it could have been.
Of course, and that's
And
why
we
we're gonna,
didn't know that.
well, but that's why we're gonna process tomorrow, and then we'll, part of this isn't just process for our own benefit. Is to make sure that we can improve the process moving forward for everybody.
If you need parent input, I will volunteer.
So will I. I'm
So-
tired.
Well, I appreciate it. We appreciate it.
All right. Thank you so much for your
Thanks, Mrs.
comments.
Picciarelli. Thank you.
And just the way it did.
Thank
in a
you.
Yeah.
tough Position, because,
Mhm.
I mean, when you think about it in retrospect, it's frightening.
No, we understand
It's not
that.
just our school, I mean, but it's so close to home. It's frightening.
Yeah, and I think you need to know also that we're discussing it in executive session because we'll be discussing some of the safety plan. That's always done in executive session because we don't want the public to know, or any person that shouldn't have that information, what that information really is. So
I don't
otherwise,
think we expect,
No, I know
specific
you
details,
don't. I
just
know.
some transparency.
no, we hear you, but I just wanted to reiterate that that's why we do it in executive session. Because we always used to, it doesn't appear like that might be something we would have to do, but we do. Because of the sensitive nature of all of that. So I just wanted to reiterate that with you both. But we thank you both for coming and, are very respectful for your concerns. Can understand that 100%.
And
So-
I thank you for coming, especially after our conversation last night.
Thank you.
Thank
Told
you.
you I'd be here.
Yes, yes. And I feel it's important that we hear from parents about what their feelings are about. And about this, and
But I
we
appreciate that
can
you're
do.
going to debrief and
yes,
Yep.
we can do it further.
thank you.
Thank you both for coming.
Do you
Um,
debrief with the kids too?
That I'm not sure of.
Yeah, I mean, there was, we offered counseling and support for teachers and students. And they met in small groups and they talked, that's why they went back to classes. So we brought in special counselors from Family Service Rhode Island. And this is when we have the next school committee meeting. I'm not gonna get into tonight because it's really not an agenda. We knew people would come and I took the liberty because I really don't violate open meetings, and I felt it's important to put words on, but we'll have more to, like I said, after we debrief and go back, while a lot of it may be around things that we need to keep because of security issues, a
absolutely.
lot of it will be open to the public, the information, because we want to make sure that we have better systems in place and more efficient, so we'll see what comes out of tomorrow, but there's a lot that we do because it's about not just our students, but our staff too. The safety of everybody within that community is so crucial, so.
Absolutely. I mean, the secretary shouldn't have to be answering phone calls, you know what I mean? That way, if there was a place for parents to go, meaning the website, to get their information, panicked parents hopefully wouldn't be calling the school, or you could,
Calling me?
give instructions,
know.
don't call the school, your phone call will not be answered, or whatever.
You didn't get it folded.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything
you.
else from the public for citizens comment?
You guys were great.
All right, thank you. We can move on to scheduling the next meeting. Is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to schedule the next meeting for December 9, 2021 at 6 PM at Coventry Town Hall.
Yeah, that's why I'm late. I thought that's where this was.
No.
We've been sentenced here for a while.
I didn't realize that, now that I'm retired, I can come to more meetings.
Yeah, good.
I second the motion.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries 4-0. And is there a motion to adjourn? I have 7:16.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to adjourn at 7:16 PM.
Second.
Let's go Patriots.
All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries. Go Pats.
So are we